Welcome to the United Show, and today's a big one. We have Marcel and we have Hakeem back again for a long time. And you know what? Just can't wait to get stuck into this. It's been bubbling all week. We've been waiting for the interviews to come out. They finally come out in two parts. Everyone was talking their stuff about Ronaldo and what he was saying before they heard the full story. Now the full story's out. We can actually talk about everything. How's it going, Marcel? Long time no see.
Yeah, no, I've been a bit ill for the last few days, but it's good to see you and be back with you and speaking about the club, man, and what we love to talk about. So I'm very happy to share the conversation with everyone and looking forward to speak about, the big topic of discussion right now. So yeah.
Yes, it is a big one indeed. Hakeem, been a long time since we've seen you. I think last season when we was losing all them games and we just we were so upset. But it's good to see you again. And obviously it's a bit better now on the football field. But again, we've got a bit of problem here with the Ronaldo situation. But how are you today?
I'm very, very well. Yeah, I've been hiding in a darkened room since the Ragnick era, so I've just managed to come out.
Well, look, let's get straight into it. We haven't got too long. We know there's loads to cover. So again, welcome in the comments, guys. Paul saying, look forward to this. Albert Higginbottom saying, can't we just have one day of normality at the club? You know, it's like, mate. You know, it's like Man United are never normal anymore. It's always going to be some kind of drama. But look, Ronaldo got into a lot of things. He said a lot of things, a lot really, which we don't really have a problem with. It's just a few bits and pieces that are, you know, I actually said to myself, I'm going to reserve judgment till I hear what's been said, because I kind of can feel it from the other side. But after watching, you know what, I can't defend him too much. There is a little bit that I've got. I wonder what you guys think first, then I'll give my opinion on things. But if there's anything you want me to touch upon, guys, and when we go through each thing, because there's a few things that I didn't feel needed to be touched upon. But you tell me, and we'll talk about it. But the first thing that came up was the fact that he was talking about his dream and coming back to Old Trafford and scoring 2 goals, and how he found the club after being away for so many years. And let me just take that banner off because it's killing me. And on transfers and failure to improve facilities. Now, obviously, we know about that, Marcel, but what did you think of that? Were you just in agreement with him and everything was just fine at this point? How was it for you?
Well, when he first comes to the club, I feel like he obviously had an agenda, and at that time, we thought, he's a big brand, and so is Man United, a massive brand, and you could clearly see that their agendas contradicted themselves. The Glazers obviously being poor businessmen, bring him in still, and it was a good period for the club. A lot of speculation. I didn't want to, delude ourselves in thinking that meant we were going to be competing for trophies at the time he comes in, but it was just a good, feeling around the club, especially at that time. But I don't know, we always knew it was never going to be longevity bringing Ronaldo into Manchester United Football Club, and that was maybe the big issue. We knew the situations or the issues that would be surrounding having Cristiano Ronaldo there. I mean, the fact that he left Juventus in the way that he did, even Real Madrid, and their president saying things about him and his personality and how he conducts himself, it was just all screaming towards this type of end if he doesn't get his way. We'd even spoken about it before the shows previously about his attitude, in terms of how he applies himself if he has to hear news that he doesn't want to hear in terms of not being able to play, dealing with managers taking you off the pitch. And because you've played at the top level, Nathan, you know how that would feel. Someone with that massive ego, how they're able to conduct themselves in those moments. Those are the kind of things that we're going to find ourselves, or the issues, this era of Cristiano Ronaldo, 37, 38. He's not going to be able to play that many minutes, and difficult thing for a manager to have to deal with. And then it gets to this situation now where obviously in that season, when he first came scoring all those goals, he's now had a reduced role here, and he has to adapt to that. You're talking about adaptability, and he's failed to do that in a way.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. Hakeem, when you first come in, this is what we talk about now, is when he first come in and how we felt and how everyone was feeling. I know how I felt, but I'm not sure if we really spoke on this, Hakeem. What did you think when he first came in? He avoided going to City. Alex Ferguson calls him and says, listen, you are not going City. Come to us. We finished second in the league. And, we were thinking, right, we've got Varane in, we've got Cristiano, and we've got Sancho. Are we going to now push? Or what did you think at that time?
Well, firstly, just to deal with that particular quote of his about him coming back, it was a dream to come back to his club. Well, it wasn't, because he was going to City. and then we usurped it. So from the beginning, I remember I was actually with a group of guys when it was announced he was coming back, and they were calling me, "Oh, you're bloody so negative. Why are you saying it?" And I said, we do not need a goal scorer. We got no problem scoring goals. I said we need a defensive midfielder and we need a defender. I said, so if you're going to pay all that money on Ronaldo, get a defensive midfielder and get a defender. And then I remember having an argument with someone who said, "Oh, Ronaldo's here now. We're going to win the league." I said, "You're not winning it. We're not going to win anything with a 36, 37-year-old striker." And even though, and this is the thing that people always forget, oh, he scored loads of goals. I heard Rio saying, oh, he was the top scorer. Yeah, but we scored 30 less goals last season than the season before. Because with Ronaldo in the team, it completely changed our style of play. We didn't have any fluidity at the top. So everything's going through him. So yeah, of course he's going to score more goals because he's the focal point. But the team was worse for having him in it. Now, Ragnick was just useless, so couldn't manage him. So therefore, he got away with it. But then as soon as a decent manager came in, he wanted to wait because he realised, actually, I can't rule the roost anymore, so I want to get out. He knew he wasn't going to be playing every game. He knew that he was coming to the end of his career. And like a big baby, he couldn't deal with it because he knows you're going to be sitting on the bench. So therefore, I want to get out of the club. So once you've said to any job, forget about football. You say to a job, I want out, I want to resign. I'm not really sure what he's expecting. I don't understand. So, yes, he can have his grievances and all that sort of stuff, but there's no point calling the club unprofessional and then you go and do something unprofessional as well. Wait till you leave the club. Get your move away, leave the club, and then do that interview. To do the interview, it's just like, what are you expecting? Oh, yeah, you're going to force a move from the club. But no one wanted you. It's not like United said, no, you can't go. He was put on show. Not one person wants to pay 500 grand for him or 30 million for his transfer fee. And actually, interestingly, I remember I was in Venice, actually. When was it? It was about May. And I was speaking to the guy because I went into the Juve. I think it was a Juve shop anyway. It was a football kit shop. And I went in there and the guy was telling me, oh, yeah, Ronaldo, when he was in Juventus, he said the shirts just sold out. He said the shirts sold out. They were the quickest selling shirts ever. But he said, but I never want him to come back to Juventus. Blimey. So wherever he's gone, when he's left, apart from United, when he left, people didn't like him. And he's doing the same thing again. And they hated him at Juventus. They kept saying, oh, he destroyed the team. He scored lots of goals, but he was all for himself. And, you can't be a top striker and not be selfish. I get that. Yeah. And he's been one of the best players ever. But, just retire gracefully. All this nonsense and then try to blame everybody but himself. He's genuinely like a big baby who he's not taking any responsibility for anything. He's just like, oh, it's the club, it's the manager, it's the Glazers, it's this. Just get on the pitch. If you're still scoring now and he was doing what he's supposed to be doing, fans might support him. But we are much better without him.
Yeah. Well, look, exactly what I was thinking. You took most of the words out of my mouth there. Look, when he first come, we had the better attacking front three in the whole Prem. We scored more than City and more than Liverpool. And I was saying the same thing, like, he's old now, he'll score goals, but do we really need him here? And I was just saying, he's a great player, but he's going to ruin what we're working on. Like, Ole was working on something. Okay, granted, he's not the best coach, but he was making us an absolute beast of a team that can score plenty goals on many occasions. We don't play, he didn't say, listen, guys, you do this, you do that. You make sure you're there, like Ten Hag's doing. But he did know how to put players in the right place and make sure their morale's high. And that's really it, innit? It's like a champ manager, listen, make sure his morale's high. Like, just tell him what he needs to be told so his morale goes up. That's what I saw. And when he came in, I knew it was just going to be something that we need to get rid of as soon as possible. I was thinking, right, end of the season, please move on. I love you. I don't want to have to say the words that I'm going to say, but look what happened. It was inevitable that he was going to do that. I've noticed this in NBA, in basketball. I watch it all the time. And the players, what Americans are like. They're very confident and cocky. And that's normal for them. But in England, we can't do that kind of stuff. But when you see their top players who play week in, week out starting, when it's that time where they have to then become a squad player, they're not having it. They're not having it. They can't handle it. And then eventually they go, you know what? I got to accept this role, I got to accept this role. So that's what I knew Cristiano was going to do. He's been like, think about it, guys. Cristiano has been #1 top scorer in the world pretty much every year he's played football for all his career. He has never experienced any of this ever. He's 36, 37, and now he's getting to that. That's ridiculous. And one thing I can back him with, this is the only thing I'm going to say that I really believe is, it's like an unfair situation, but it happens in football. The reality is he hasn't been given the chance to not score goals, if you get what I mean. He's scored 32 goals last season, and you normally would go, right, come in this season, and then if you stop scoring goals, like you have a little patch, right, bring someone else in. Come out now, you're old now, you're getting old. But he never even had that. He just went from playing top scorer to bang, you're not playing. So he's thinking in his head, I know how it is. When you're a top player, and you can just think about it. The top scorer ever continues to score more than 20-something, but he scored more than many players in the Premier League last year. And he comes this season, the new manager says, I respect him loads. I love him. He's a top player. I respect him so much that I can't bring him on. And then he's not playing him. So his words have to kind of comply with, I think he's great. He can't come out straight away and go, you know what? He's a great player, but he's not in my plans. He can't come out and do
that. Just, I have to stop you there, because if you think about it, so he didn't go on pre-season.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what the reason is, he didn't go on pre-season.
Yeah.
And even though he didn't go in pre-season, Ten Hag still played him in the first 2 games, which we got mullered in. So when you played someone in the first 2 games, even though you haven't been on pre-season, I think that is justifying what he said. You got mullered in it. You got mullered in those games. He didn't score any goals. So you then took him out, and then we started winning.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think what more you can do.
No, my point is to the fact of it's like the manager has to say something, and then he actually doesn't want to do what he's saying anyway. He's just trying to be respectful of the whole situation, and he's in a lose-lose situation. The manager is never going to be able to make these two things connect. Speaking to the media and actually not wanting him to play. Like, there's nothing wrong with him coming in and going, listen, you're just not in my plans, mate. You're not the profile that I need in my type of teams. I'm sorry, you're a top player. You do amazing if you was at City or a Bayern Munich where everything's set up and all you got to do is finish. Like Choupo-Moting, for God's sake, scoring bare goals for Bayern Munich. Imagine he's sitting in the 6-yard box scoring goals. He'd do well there, but not for us. We need pace. Because Sancho relies on other players to have pace to do his thing. Anthony probably relies on Martial to be running and for him to do his thing. So they all rely on that. If they've got no pace, they've got nothing. They get nullified. So for me, I just see that was always going to be a problem. And he was always going to have a problem with Ten Hag. I don't see Ten Hag having a problem there, being the problem there. I just think it's a case of he has to come round to the fact that, no, to be fair, Ten Hag should have just said straight from the go, you're not my profile. Like, just have a conversation with him and say, you can go next year. What do you think, Marcel?
I was going to say, though, Nath, do you think that the Glazonomics and the boardroom level have a say in whether they wanted to keep Cristiano Ronaldo along for the rest of the season? And then that adds to Ten Hag's narrative or his narrative being, or his instructions from the board being told, listen, we're not going to spend said amount of money on a striker this season. You've had your midfielders. We've overspent on your Anthony. There's no strikers here. So in the media, if you just say you're going to keep this asset for the rest of the season, and next season we'll look to go into the market for a striker, I feel like this may have inadvertently pushed that forward. And maybe in January, we're now looking into the market for a forward line player. And hopefully it's not somebody that is like a second string or it's a proper forward, a Harry Kane, or they have to go big now and then maybe look at it as January is something else. But maybe that could be a thing where, Ten Hag was told by the board that, look, you're not going to be able to get another striker, so you might as well just say you're keeping this guy.
Yeah, and you're right. I think that is exactly what's happened. But the main thing is he should have sat Cristiano down, being the player he is and being what he's done and never actually failed before. And you're going to tell him that you're not going to be in my plans to start. You got to sit this kind of guy down and say, listen, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but you're not my profile of player that I want to play from the start. I need this kind of player. You are going to be in the squad. You are going to think about it. You think Ronaldo's going to accept a conversation like that? He's like, listen, I'm off then.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. I want to ask you the question. I want to throw the question to you because you're articulating it. Did you get what I'm saying? Like, how does a player feel when they're told, like you said, they've been at the pinnacle, scoring consistently goals upon goals? How do they feel when they're told they're not in the plans? The club just a season ago bought me because he must have felt he's in line with the management and the board. They want me here. They want me to score goals here. 2 or so minutes, not 2 or so, about 10 games in, 13 games in, the man that brought him here ends up leaving. So he has to adapt to that. He then basically almost kind of runs the team under Ralph. But then the new season comes along, and this man is very strict, very adamant that, maybe he has a reduced role here. Or maybe Ten Hag even told the board that he didn't want him around because, Arnautovic, all these players were looked at to be bought as well. So
yeah. What you got to say, Hakeem? You wanted to jump in there.
So I was just frowning because I just saw something pop up about Van Persie being a bigger legend than Ronaldo. Come on, son. I mean, let's not
ridiculous.
Ronaldo's been silly. There's no doubt Ronaldo's been silly, but we can't be disrespecting the man. What he did for United, what he's done for United, what he's done from every other club. So I have to dismiss that particular comment. It's just we're just a bit excited. The point I think is, firstly, we don't know what Ten Hag said to him because he actually came out and said, "I want to go." So I actually think Ten Hag has played an absolute blinder because in the press he has never disrespected Ronaldo. He's never said anything bad about Ronaldo, even though Ronaldo's coming out and slagging him off. He's then forced Ronaldo to come out and embarrass himself so that whether the Glazers like him or not, the Glazers have got to sell him. So Ten Hag's going to get exactly what he wants. No United fan can say, because everyone's saying, I know you just said it, Rio was saying that, we've disrespected him, players like that. All we know is what Ronaldo said, because Ten Hag's not said anything. So Ten Hag may well have sat him down and said something. That's maybe why he said, I want to go. And even after he said, I want to go, Ten Hag was still coming out saying, he's a great player. I don't want him to leave. He's still in my plans. Then he played in the first 2 games almost to say, I'll play him then. He's not going to do what we need him to do. Dropped him, and we went on a run. And anytime he comes in, we look much worse. We look. What I'm going to say makes no sense, but it's almost like Harry Maguire. Anytime you bring Harry Maguire in, we look shaky at the back. Anytime we bring Ronaldo in at the moment, we don't look like we're going to score. Which I can't believe that's the case. But when he's not playing, I get excited. You just see the movement, the fluidity. When he's playing, he started to drop so deep, and he gets the ball, and he hasn't accepted that he can't run with the ball anymore. So he keeps trying to run with the ball, loses the ball, and then when he loses the ball on the edge of the D, there's no one in the box. So as you said, if Sancho then gets the ball, Ronaldo's always behind him. So there's nothing in front of the players. So I love him. I wish he'd never come back. He came back, gave us one great season. If he goes now, I have no animosity to him at all because of what he's done for us. But he just needs to get on and go and play for Burnley or something.
Vincent Kompany's playing at Burnley and they're playing good football. We're playing them in the
Billy Van Persie says, I love Van Persie, all United fans. Hey, listen, Van Persie was serious. I absolutely loved him as well. He was my favourite at Arsenal when Henry was there. When he come to United, he was one of my favourite then when he came. So I absolutely loved him, mate. So yeah, no problem there, lad. You keep loving him. He is the man. But look, I'm going to go through a few of these things because we've taken 18 minutes on just this thing. And I want to just mention all these things so then we can just chew the fat on all of it. So I'm just going to run through a few of these things. So on the tragic death of his baby son, and then remember the criticism he faced at United and he's thinking they didn't believe him. I want to touch on that. And then Wayne Rooney saying what he wanted to say. And Ole Gunnar went. I don't want to really talk about that. There's nothing to say. On Man United's youngsters not following his example and the best advice he was given. And on the tricky relationship with Rangnick, you've already touched on. And then Rangnick not knowing what he was doing. And then you've got walking out of the preseason friendly. So they're the ones we're going to go through because I think that's important. Like the criticism he faced for walking out. And then really talking a bit about Gary Neville now. I don't really like that part. So, Marcel, on any of them points I've just made, we can touch on whichever ones you want if you want to bunch them in because there is quite a bit. Tell me what you were thinking you was upset about the most.
Oh, well, I mean, where do you start? The fact that it's I think he shouldn't even done this interview. I honestly think like he shouldn't have even done this interview. You know, giving it to Piers Morgan out of all the people. You know, leeching off Manchester United's name and Ronaldo's name, someone that doesn't even love the club. So that's where I'm at with this when I was first watching it. But I just feel like it's a sense of a little bit of an insecurity or showing a bit of suffering that from someone that we expect professionalism from someone that we expect kind of, you know, absolute dedication and application. And at this stage in his career, he's just not been able to show that because he's not been able to accept his error in his career right now, and that he's at a stage where he's towards the end. This time comes for every footballer, and he's struggling to ascertain that he can't play as well as he should or could, and you're just as good as what you've done now yesterday. You know, you've got to be able to produce goals yesterday, not 10 years ago, and that's what he's dealing with. And I just felt like the whole thing when he was talking about the rats criticizing him when all I've heard is Rooney praise him from time to time.
That
And
was
Gary
bad.
Neville speak well about him. So then
Yeah.
I guess a lot of what he's saying gets lost in translation, Nathan and Hakeem. So it's like I didn't want to take it for face value. I wanted to give him the best opportunity to articulate himself in his second language or whatever it is, third. But it's like penultimately this is insecurity. I could just felt like I knew everything already. You were telling me everything about the Glazers. We knew this to detail. We already knew this about the club. I'm very, very, very empathetic towards the situation with his family.
Yeah.
That is something, feelings are never wrong in my opinion. And you have to, you know, family is more important, underlined 5,000 times. But it's, you know, when it comes to being on the pitch, I think he had to accept a lesser role. Hakeem's already said it, outlined it. He wasn't part of pre-season and he got opportunity to play the first 2 games. That's respect in itself. And I feel like he's missed the trick here. I think he has bad advisors around him, if I'm honest with you, Nathan. Really poor advisors around you. And when you're at that level of almost ego, top of the world, you have so much influence and power. You just shouldn't have a lot of yes people around you.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's what he's got around him right now at this stage of his career. So I don't know. I think, you know, when he talks about the Saudis and all the big wages, 350 million contract, all that kind of thing, I don't think he ever wanted to go there to play football. I think he still wants to score goals, and he wants a team to be able to play around him. I think he actually was demanding or complaining right now because it sounded like a load of complaining. It didn't sound like he never pinpointed and said this person said this. He didn't go and it was just really peculiar and so embarrassing as a United fan. I would rather him just go in January. You could just go in January.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Nathan. Really upsetting as a United fan for someone that I will disagree with you, Hakeem, because I feel like I have. It's a reactionary and emotional thing, Hakeem, but I have revoked that legendary status. I think we was talking about it before, Nathan, as well, a few shows ago. But I have kind of revoked it in a way because you can't be a legend, refuse to come on the pitch, disrespect the fans, disrespect the manager, you know, and only set your agenda now once, you know, to benefit you. You've only given us fans a little bit of, okay, yeah, the Glazers done. You could have said that how poor the training facilities was last season. Why are you doing it now? So just a load of things that were just.
I think it's because you're young, you see, Marcel. Because you know, when I reflect on, if you look at Roy Keane, the way he left the club, he's still a club legend. I don't care. If you look at Paul Ince and the way he left the club, he's not quite a legend, but he was phenomenal for United. So I try and put aside that, because at the end of the day, they're human beings, and people seem to think because we put them on. Well, I don't, but because a lot of people put them on a pedestal because they're footballers. At the end of the day, their quality of kicking the ball around. They're not. It doesn't mean that makes them superhuman or they're better than what. They're not just human beings. And actually, you know, the way I look at it, and Nathan knows better than me because I've not ever been in that position. But if you're a young guy and everyone's telling you you're the best person in the world, you're unbelievable, and then you start proving it year after year after year after year again, it must be absolutely devastating when you are no longer that person, because he's known as Ronaldo, the best footballer in the world. Well, he's not anymore, is he? So it must be devastating. And then the person who's actually telling him is Ten Hag. So obviously you're not gonna like the person who's telling you you're not what you have been for the past 20 years. In terms of the you know what he says about his family, I couldn't comment because I've not heard anybody from the club say anything about, oh, we don't trust him. They gave him all the time off. It was all the rest of the press was saying, "Oh, yeah, he's saying this, he's saying that." Ten Hag never said anything. Ten Hag just kept coming out and saying he's got family problems. That was it. The club said exactly the same thing. Nobody said anything. So what went on inside, I don't know. But from an external person looking in, they completely respected him. He said he can't come to pre-season training, and he didn't come. And then they still put him in the.
You're right.
Exactly. So I'm not really sure what he's going on about, but and then Wayne Rooney. I don't know what Wayne Rooney said about him, but and then I've listened to what Gary Neville said about him. But Gary Neville has been very careful. He's not really criticised him. He just kept saying, rather than doing that, and he kept saying, Ten Hag or the club need to sit down with him, and if he wants to go, they should let him go, and should let him go in January. He's never said anything bad about Ronaldo. He just said that actually, the only thing he said was that I don't think it's right that you go off 5 minutes before you go, before the end of the match. And if you look at Ronaldo, Ten Hag can't win. So the press was slagging him off the game before because he's against City because he said, "Oh, I didn't bring him on because it was only 5 minutes to the end of the game. The game was done. Didn't really see the point because it would be disrespectful for him." He was actually slated in the press for that. Then the next game, when actually Ronaldo could have made a difference, he was trying to bring him on, and then Ronaldo disappears off. And then everyone's going, "Oh, well, it was a bit disrespectful. You tried to do it at the end of the game." You're thinking, it doesn't matter what Ten Hag does.
You can't win,
he's going to get criticised either way. So, as Marcel said, I just think it's embarrassing because he's just like you look at him and you think you're like a big baby. Come on, you've had abuse all your career. You've been scoring goals, you've been doing all that, and then because a manager says, actually, you're not going to be playing every game, you start going into you're just like throwing these toys out the pram.
You know what? It's so funny because like in football, every player goes through this like a few times in their career. Like this is just normal. But for him, he's never gone through it. So he's come to the end now going, "Nah, mate, I ain't doing that. You think you want me to come on with 3 minutes? You mad? I ain't doing that." And this is it. The football is always, it's a fight for power. So when you go to a club and you want to come in, if you don't have all the power, the club is like, if you don't have the power, they'll just go, "Yeah, we'll just offer you whatever, man. Just come in." But if you've got all the power, "We love you so much. Here's a red carpet. Listen, we're going to have drinks for you. Yeah, what do you want? How much? We love you. We've been watching you for years. I'm telling you, you're unbelievable. You're going to love it here." That's what they do, yeah? And that's what Cristiano's had his whole career. Yeah. I've had that, my early part of my career, everybody loving me. Then all of a sudden, bam, 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 the other way around. Like, I'm like, what the hell? How can I not play anymore every week? "Oh, where's he been? He hasn't played for so long. How do I know he's going to score? No, I'm not going to take no chances." And like, this is just the way it is in football. You can translate. That's why now as an agent, I can translate what managers say. When they say something, I know exactly what they're talking about. I'm just translating in my head. And I'll tell the player, "Listen, when he says that, yeah, that's that." And I'm like, you will know when a manager wants you. You will know when the club want you because it's a total different thing. When you ring them, they're ringing you straight back. They're answering the phone straight away. When you ring them, they don't answer. They read your message, nothing. That's what happens. Anyway, coming to the point, Cristiano's feeling it now. And this is the first time he's feeling it. So he is going to throw his toys out the pram. And it is a little bit like, I expect that from him. It's weird because I know what it's like, but it's not right. It's obviously not right, but I expect it because he's not failed yet. He's not even gone through a stage where he goes, "Oh, man, I can't even score. I played a whole season. I scored 3 goals, man." Right. Then the manager goes, "I'm not playing you." That's fine. But he banged 32 goals. Even though it's poor from a team situation, again, it's still in his mind. Remember, footballers, first and foremost, it is about yourself. It's not about your team. You being good helps the whole team. Yeah. So that's usually what you get in football as well. I didn't have a teammate that really wanted me to score, really, really wanted to see me do well, apart from Jason Roberts and I would say Andy Liddell, very good striker, but he was still selfish in his own way where he scored his goals. But Jason and me, we were both so close that I got as much satisfaction setting him up as he's me. So what it means is we were selfish, but we also, it's like we were selfish as a two rather than selfish as just one. Yeah. And that's where you get the special stuff that goes on. But with him now, he's gonna be. So when everyone's saying, he's doing this interview just for himself, of course. Who else is he gonna do it for? He's gonna do it for just himself. But at the end of the day, he does want to score goals and does want to win games. And eventually, overall, him being selfish would be something that works out for the team if that was the way we play. So anyway, that was my point on that.
Just on that one, just one last point on because the one thing that he said was about talking about how he was brought up in the club and all this. If Fergie was still there, he'd have been out like that, just like Keane was. Keane put in how many years of service. 1 out of turn comment, he was out. Same thing with Yakam. Yeah, he didn't mess him as well. Exactly. Anybody, all those in Kanchelskis, you can name them all. Players that you're thinking these are guys are going to be there for the next 10 years, and then next season they're gone. You think, what the hell's happened to him? Because they've said the wrong thing. So there's no way. When he's saying, "Oh yeah, Fergie supports him," this, that. Fergie may well like him, see him as a son, and all that sort of stuff, but he won't support the way he behaves. And is he suggesting that the younger people should be looking up to what he's doing now? So they're not happy. So go on TV and start doing an expose and expose the club. I don't know what he's talking about. It's like he's saying that the kids should look up to my example while I'm giving you a bad example.
He has been a model professional. Like I say, that's because he's been treated amazing by everyone, every club that he's gone to, and now he's feeling it. So he has to end up being a little bit like the others are. But Alex is just saying, he's got a few things to say. When saying the youngsters he feels hard work are the ones like a lot who seem to do what he wants them to do. He also said he felt that the club didn't believe him about the daughter being sick, but didn't confirm that what they literally said to him. Exactly. Let's go with the rest. Yeah. Ronaldo was a footballing legend, not a Man United legend. Thanks, Albert.
Oh, come on.
Ronaldo body shaming is so low, actually disgraceful. I'm going to talk about Meridian. That's not nice, is it? But that's what I mean. I thought that was petty, very petty. I'll talk about it in a sec. But Steve K says the Reds top slaughtered Ronaldo during pre-season. Everyone I spoke to, though, totally respected his situation.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Ronaldo out. Ronaldo played the victim, saying, "Why is it me that the press talking about leaving the stadium, but then says, I know I'm Cristiano Ronaldo. I know a lot of people talk about me and use my name. That the guy's a mess." Alex has spoken. And you just know Portugal win the World Cup.
Not without seeing.
Look, I think he's being petty with a few of these things. I get the feeling that, like, if anyone said Messi's better than him, he wouldn't talk to them. Like, I have friends who would say to me, "Yeah, you know what? I think he's better than you." Who cares? It's not a problem. If you don't think he's better than me, fine. But how was Cristiano going to get mad? It's a fight between Messi and Ronaldo, and you go, "Listen, you know what? I think Messi's the best. Sorry, Ronaldo. Sorry, I know you played with me, but listen, Messi's the best." Just why are you going to get angry for? And why are you going to get angry if Gary Neville comes out and says, "Listen, you can't just not play. Like, that's wrong." Like, how can you get mad? Even if whatever's happened, from Gary Neville's point of view, having to say something on the matter, how can he not say that's wrong? How can he say that's right? It's not.
That's the point. Gary Neville's a footballing pundit, so he could be like Rio and embarrass himself, because I think Rio is embarrassing himself because he refused to say anything bad, and guaranteed if it was any other player but Ronaldo, because Ronaldo's his mate, I understand that, but he'd be slating them. Absolutely, obviously be slating them. But because it's his mate, he's like saying, "Oh, well, yeah, but I think they should do this." I think, and you're thinking, Gary Neville can't. But Gary Neville can't do that. Gary Neville's got to give he always gives an opinion, so he has to give an opinion, and his opinion has been quite soft, to be honest. But then, to blank him, it's like, how old are we? 5? You're blanking him because he said something we're not on the playground. Come on, it's embarrassing.
You know what? So here's something. Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story from my side. From my point of view, because I refused to play at one point. Yeah, I did. I refused to play.
Wow.
Sorry, I refused to play. I was at West Brom. Yeah, I went to West Brom. They signed me from Wigan. Here's a mad story. Tell me if you're gonna be on my side or not on my side. Yeah. Do you think that you're not on my side already? Yeah. Before I've just told you I refuse to play. Yeah.
Already? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes.
No, I'm waiting to say. Yeah. I'm on my own side, not yours.
Okay, cool.
I'll listen to it.
So, guys, in the comments,
I'm upset. I can't lie, Nathan.
Yeah, listen, I'm a football player. Yeah, my career matters. My whole career matters. Right. So, just to paint the picture. I started my career and I was playing every season, scoring more and more goals every year. 19 goals, 21 goals, 23 goals, 26 goals. In the Championship, we got to the Premiership, top scorer in the Championship. I'm going into the Premiership with Wigan, and everyone's talking about me being the next this and that, yeah? I moved to West Brom, and I signed there because I couldn't sort out the issues that I had with Wigan. I wanted to stay there. I would have stayed there forever, but I didn't. Anyway, get to West Brom, and I'm on the bench, yeah? I'm not playing much. I think I played 18 games altogether. Scored 11, scored 11 goals in that season. We got relegated, yeah? And I'm top scorer in the team. We had Kanu, Kamara, Campbell, Robert Earnshaw. Did I say Kanu? Yeah, we had
Kanu, Wallace.
Yeah, Kanu. Yeah, bad man. Me and him were top scorers in the league, 5 goals each. We didn't play. We didn't play as much as we should have, and we were just upset. We get relegated, and I'm like, nah, I came here to play. I had a meeting with him. I said, I came here to play. Like, I was top scorer in my team, and I've come here, and you just didn't play me. I felt like you brought me in here to actually cripple Wigan, and it's backfired. We've got relegated, and I ain't played. So I'm like, I need to leave. I want to go. I want to go back to the Prem. I deserve to be in the Prem. I've banged against Prem teams all the time when I was in the lower league, and now I'm not in the league. Wigan come back in for me. They said, no one's going nowhere. So I'm like, cool, I'll play. Get to January this time. I don't know how many years ago. It gets to January the 1st, and I'm getting mad. Like, Paul Jewell is telling me he's coming for me for the money that they bought me for, because I had a release clause of 3 million. They paid 3 million and 1 pence, and they got me because they couldn't say no. So anyway, Paul Jewell wanted me back. Guess what the chairman said to me? He said, you can go, but I'm going to stall to the end of the month. That's what he told me clear. You're going to go at the end of this month, but I'm going to stall. So what do? I get on the phone. I tell him, Paul Jewell, listen, listen, I can come. They're going to let me come. And there's me dreaming about the Prem again, yeah? I'm dreaming about the Prem. I'm in the Championship on 40% less wages, by the way, yeah? And I got a big house that I have to pay for. And then the credit crash just happened anyway. So anyway, I'm there. Days are going by. I'm coming in every day, knocking on the chairman's door. Listen, chairman, you going to let me go or what? You going to let me go? And I ain't this type of guy, yeah? I'm a quiet guy. Chairman, listen, I need to go. Like, can you just let it happen now? Because he can't wait. He calls me about 2 weeks later and says, Nave, I'm going to have to let you go because I can't afford. Just imagine they don't let me get you. At the end of the month, I got nothing. I'm going to have to go find someone else. So anyway, I'm like, oh my days, no. So I'm every day going in, hey, listen, let me go. Comes to the last 5 days, and I come in, I'm walking in, and he goes, Nate, go tell the manager you can go. Go call the manager. Yeah, you can go. You can go now. Where's my phone? I got my phone now. Listen, Gaffer, I can come. You know what? We've gone and got Julius Agahawa, and we're waiting for his work permit. If his work permit comes in, we're sorry. So I'm there. I'm going to the Sky Sports News, just looking up at the thing, waiting to see if it's just like, hopefully it's rejected. Bang, yellow writing, Agahawa accepted, work permit. Imagine how I'm feeling. Premiership is this close, yeah? I'm not gone now. I'm staying at the club, and I'm sitting there on the bench. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like crazy. You've just killed me in my chance to get back to the Prem. And anyway, I'm like, nah, I can't play. I can't be playing no more. My head's gone. Like, I need to go. And you killed my whole move back to the Prem. So, new manager come in, and I think it got to a certain point where I was like, I'm not playing. I need to go.
Question here, I got in to see. So how do you feel? What does the new manager tell you? Is he trying to invigorate you to come back and score goals for the side? Because even though after a period of time, because how long does it take before you say to yourself, look, I don't want to play now. I've lost that drive. I want to go back to my club that I love in the Premier League. But the new manager must come in and try and inspire you. Surely that's his job. He needs you to score for the side.
But when Brian Robson got sacked, the manager took over, and I wasn't playing. So he started Kevin Phillips. At this point, we had John Hartson and Kevin Phillips, and Diamante Kamara went up front. And they started bagging goals for fun. We beat up Leicester like 4-0 first game. Then they kept scoring. I was on the bench. And I was still involved there. Sorry, it didn't happen straight away. End of that season came. And that's when I was like, I need to leave now. I need to go. And I remember saying, I'm not playing. I didn't play one of the games. But then the manager spoke to me and he was like, listen, we need you to play. This was pre-season. And he said, we need you to play this game. And I knew I was going to go. This time I was going to Watford instead of Wigan. And they got relegated to the Championship. So now I was going Championship to Championship rather than back to the Prem. So I was like, nah, man, you guys got to just let me go now, man. It's been 2 years now. You're taking the mick. I ain't playing. So I ended up playing that last game against Southend in the pre-season friendly, scored and then left. But I still had to kind of throw my toys out the pram at that point because I was just like so angry for 2 years. They didn't let me go. Then vetoed 2 moves back to the Prem. I was so peed off and I've never gone back to the Prem. So now I went on half money and I never played in the Prem again. And then I kept going down. So it's just like you kind of killed my chances of being a top player. That's what I feel like. And that's because they had the strength. And it's a player versus club thing. When you have the strength, you can do some certain things. When they have the strength, they will do whatever they want. So anyway, that's what happened. And that's my story.
But once you complain, similar, or once you throw your toys at the pram, I think you lose your power. You know, so Ronaldo. This interview seems like someone. What was this said?
You're a disgrace. Oh, thanks, guys.
I just feel like you lose your power once you make a complaint like that. That's not somebody that comes. You know, interviews like this don't come from someone that's in the power. That's the man. If you're the man right now, you're not doing this type of interview. So I just feel like you automatically lose. That's why I was saying he has bad advisors around him. Why would you do this right now?
That's the question, Marcel. I didn't want to play because I knew that if I do something this big, I'm so upset and I got to do something that big to force my way out. If I don't do that, they're just going to keep me locked in there and I'm going to be on the bench sitting around for another 2 years and not get what I need. So what I'm saying is Cristiano's here right now. He knows he doesn't need to be playing here. He knows it's not for him. He knows he wants to get out, but they were saying he's not going anywhere and all of this. He knows that he needs to actually be free of a contract to actually get a chance to play anywhere because no one's going to pay him 500k a week and no one's going to pay 10 million for him either. So he's going, how do I get out of this situation? I've got enough money. I don't care. I just need to go and play. So he's got what he wants. And that's all he was after. I need to expose everything to just get myself out of it. I don't care what happens. I'm out. And this is what I mean. He would have had conversations with people in the changing room, and a lot of them would have agreed with what he says, but they can't say nothing out in the open. Bruno can't come out and go, yeah, I agree with him on certain things. You know, he should have been getting the chance. Or, you know what, the manager is a bit right. You know, he can't say anything. So this is the point that you come to is he had to do what he had to do to get out. So good on him. Get out of here. So Man United supporters, we're on the other side now. Man United supporters can say, listen, get going. Thank you for coming, giving us 1 more year. Get out of here now. You as a legend, goodbye. That's what I want.
I think there's a difference between the two situations, though. Apart from obviously you both refused to play, which is completely unacceptable. But let's ignore that. Let's pretend that didn't happen. But number one, you had a firm offer, and without doubt that club stitched you up because you had a firm offer from a Premiership club. And then the actual chairman said, I'm not giving it you. I'm not going to let you go to the end of the season. By the end of the season, that position's gone and then you're stuck on the bench. Yeah. Ronaldo's not in the same position because number one, he's got no firm offers. Nobody wants him. And you know, so it's not like if I could understand it. If Manchester City had come in and said, we want you to play, and then United had been clinging on to him, United would have let him go. If someone had come in with a proper offer and take it, so you could take that wage bill off.
Didn't he say that he had a few offers? Like he had a couple offers.
Yeah, but he's talking about bloody all these bloody Saudi. He had he didn't have any offer from any major league, any of the major leagues around Europe at all, and that's why. Can
I? Sorry to cut you, Hakeem. So he kind of outlines that people were speaking about him, or that, you know, his agent goes to the clubs. But you're right though. I 100% agree with you, Hakeem. Like, it doesn't. I don't think there was any concrete offers. But he was also, in the same way, he was saying that the media, a lot of what the media was saying was lies. So were they lying to him, or what? Like, I don't know. Are we being lied to when they're saying nobody wants him, or is he telling the outright truth? There's a bit of a great area.
He didn't say who it was, and that's what's annoying, because you don't know. You don't.
We'll find out anyway. Well, number one, even when he was leaving Juventus, it wasn't like there was a long queue of people after him, and even then he was 35. The only Pep was going to get him because he knows he's going to bang goals. As soon as United came in with a high offer, Pep just said, "Forget that. I'm not paying that much for him," and no one else was interested. It wasn't like there was 15 clubs after him and we picked it. The only other club that was in for him, really, seriously, was City. Now he's 2 years older. So it's not like there's not going to be many. I don't think, even when he goes for free, that he's going to go to another elite club in another league. He might go to Paris Saint-Germain. Well, he won't do because unless he's there. But he's not going to go. He's not going to be because number one, he's going to ask. Even if he's only asking for 200 grand a week, that's a lot of money for him. Because he hasn't got the legs to play a full season like he needs to play. He's not going to score as many goals because if you look at this season, and it might be pressure, it might be lots of things. This is the first season I've seen Ronaldo in however many 15, 16 years missing sitters. Yeah, missing absolute sitters.
Preseason, you know, it's the preseason being missed, killing him. Like you get all your sharpness and timing from preseason, and he's having to do it now, but he's not even playing regular, so. He's not even going to get to the level. Remember when Drogba had that same thing where he had no preseason, then he had a little bit of a bad season, and he was like, "That's because I didn't have my preseason. It was that bad." It's so important to have a preseason and get all that rust out of the way, because then you become that player who's playing every week. But here's a question for you guys, because I get the feeling that Pep has got a really good strategy here. He's got a really good strategy. He's done it with two players. He's done it with Fred and Ronaldo now. He pretends he wants these players and that they're top players.
Maguire.
Oh, no, let's go get him. And we go get him, and then just kill us. And then he goes and gets what he really wants. Have you noticed that? Or what?
Without that. But that's because, and this is where I agree with Ronaldo, I think it's changed now. We weren't being managed by footballing people. We're being managed by marketing people. So you've got people who know nothing about football. So they're looking and thinking, if I don't agree with this player. If City want him, if the greatest manager in the world wants him, he must be a good player. Let's go and pay for him. He did it with Sanchez. He did it with Maguire. He's done it with Fred. He's done it with Ronaldo. You know, Pep, but the difference is Ronaldo in a Pep team would score goals, but Pep would not take him. You look at any players with any ego, Pep gets rid of them immediately. Ibrahimovic, Eto'o. He does not like, if there's any kind of ego, any sort of like challenge to his authority. He's not going to be happy. He's never buying Ronaldo. Ronaldo is going to be priming himself there. It affects the whole team. If you look at Pep's teams, none of them have an ego. And they just don't have an ego. They just do what he tells them to do.
Yeah. Ronaldo's done now anyway. I think he's done in terms of being you know what? The only team that like kind of sounded like they're like kind of linked with him is like a Bayern, because they've only got Choupo-Moting who's bagging. And if they had him instead, I think that's the only fit at the minute that I can see. I can't see anything else. I don't know.
In my head, I think, you know, if we take Osimhen, then Napoli, and I think his ambition is to play maybe one more time in the Champions League. So Osimhen comes to us or goes somewhere in world football, and he's touted to be someone that, you know, can move in January. And then obviously, like you said, Bayern Munich, Mane, massive player for them that's injured at the moment. So Ronaldo coming in, you know, for maybe a season and a half, 2 years or so in the German League. 2 more trophies.
Bayern Munich, I mean, I think the only reason I don't think Bayern Munich is a properly well-run club, owned by the literally owned by the fans. You got people like, I think he's gone now. You have Rummenigge, you've got the what's his name, the Kaiser. You got proper footballing people who are not going to tolerate this sort of nonsense. They're going to be looking at this and thinking, even if they were thinking about getting him in, Bayern Munich is like United in terms of a PR machine. They're all about doing things right, making sure things go right. You can't bring someone in like that who's just had an interview on TV slagging everybody off. I can't see it. Paris Saint-Germain.
I'm saying it. You should go to PSG. Yes, you should swap with Mbappe. That's what I
with anybody.
See, Alex. Huh?
I don't even like Neymar, but I take anybody over Ronaldo at the moment.
Neymar's sick, man. I don't know why people don't like him, man. He's sick. Like
you blow on him, he falls over.
He's the last of a dying breed, mate. We ain't got no more players like this, mate. I'm telling you. We got to savor these people for now.
No.
And don't hate on the best players in the world, man. These players like
Musiala's coming up, so he'll take the mantle.
It's too soft.
We'll see.
It's too soft, Neymar. I don't think he produces it regularly enough. Yeah, on his day he can be. Especially for Brazil. The amount of times I've watched him for Brazil, waiting for him to do something, he just doesn't do it.
Yeah, but if you
don't say this before World Cup. Yeah, don't say this before World Cup, Hakeem. You're gonna regret it, mate. You're gonna regret it.
Neymar scored the most goals for Brazil ever than anyone else.
Yeah, yeah. Look,
ever.
Don't get me started on that.
Let's leave Neymar out of it.
If you start talking about stats, then Rooney is the best football player that England's ever produced. He's the best player that United have ever had. When you start looking at his stats, he's better than George Best. He's better than Cantona. He's better than and he's not.
No. Look, we've got 10 minutes left, and I want to go through the Ten Hag talk because that was one of the things that he's saying he's being forced out. That's fine, but the bit that he was saying here was his relationship with Ten Hag. He's not respecting him, and he was talking about. I'm not going to read all that, yeah, but he's talking about he's not respecting him. So the main part there is he right or is he wrong? Because for me, the way he's talking is like he's telling me that I respect him because I don't want to bring him on because we're 6-0 down. And then when it comes to bringing him on in a game where we're winning and there's a few minutes left to go, but that's all he mentioned. It's not like he's disrespecting him in any other way. So if you're on the bench, you got to be ready to come on whatever minutes there are. That's for me, as I think. And it don't matter how many. Look, it doesn't matter who you are, but you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it, Cristiano. Toys out the bag, toys out the pram. Simple as that. I think that's exactly what he's done, and he is totally wrong to be upset and disrespecting Ten Hag for that. The other point I want to make is Ten Hag shouldn't have really said anything to do with I respect him too much because I didn't play him for that, and then because then he's going to always use it against him when it comes to coming on it again at another point. So just say, look, I didn't bring him on. I didn't want to bring him on. Like I thought I'd bring on Martial. Like just totally say I didn't bring him on because I brought Martial on and he scored 2 goals and that's it. And then you can't say nothing for the next time because when you're a manager, the manager, if you start enforcing rules that are general, that you can't enforce on everybody because everyone's different, you're going to come with this kind of problem where people are going to hold you to the one little thing you said. Oh, I got too much respect for him. And then Evra's coming out. You got too much respect. Play him then. He needs to play. He scored 30 goals last year. And that's the problem you get. So
he should stood up as well, Evra.
Yeah, so he needed to basically, my point is just say what you need to say and be more bold. I think he just needs to be a bit more bold with what he needs to say. And everything would have been even more fine. And he wouldn't even given anything for Cristiano to have any ammunition for. What do you think, Marcel? What are you saying?
Well, firstly, if we're being pedantic, I don't think it was 3 minutes. This narrative that it was 3 minutes, I was there at the game. I think it was 10. But the fact that this man, I wouldn't want to say egomaniac, but like Hakeem's been saying, he's acting like a child. It wasn't 3 minutes. But for the fact of him to say that he's not that sort of player, what about all these other people that have these careers that are going to come to this stage in their career where they have to humble themselves in this way? And I just feel like he's missed a trick in so many other parts of whatever the world and etiquette, how you present yourself, and that's because of his ego. That's because he feels he's entitled because of what he's previously done, and Ten Hag hasn't disrespected him at all. He's the manager. Nobody's bigger than the manager or the club. But it's Ronaldo's inflated himself to brand status. He is an entity, a brand. So, when his agenda is to win trophies, and we clearly don't have that target and ambition since the moment he's come to the club, there's going to be a conflict of interest there. And however that manifests itself, whether it's the manager saying, well, we are not here to win trophies. We're here to work hard and form a team and form habits and form winning ways. He's not part of that, unfortunately. He needs to be in a side that wants to win right now, or that's on the way to winning right now. A City, a Bayern Munich. I don't know who's doing well in Italy right now, if it's maybe Napoli or AC Milan or Inter Milan, but he needs to be in a team that's functioning well now and that literally will play to his strengths. Funny enough, Portugal are going to do that. And that's why he's able to say that he's going to have a good World Cup because they're going to play to his strengths. So he needs something like that. I think Portugal at times were playing with two up front as well, which is something that he wanted. At what we heard that rumored under Ralph and stuff, that he wanted a strike partner, because that's what's going to get him the best. Someone to do the extra running around him and just play him the ball when he's in the correct positions. But his ego's so big, man, and it's detrimental. It's so funny. The very thing that we built him up on, his ego, the prowess, the strong belief, the character, is the very thing that's going to kill him and cripple him now when he needs to be able to adapt to a new role. He's talking about being a leader and someone that people will listen to and see as an example. But at that age, you can't run around. So there's no example. You're not running around. You're not running enough. You're not scoring a lot of goals. So what example are you setting? You're in the media, Garnacho has played fantastic in a key moment against Fulham. You've taken that moment from him. Where's the examples here? You need to, you need to adapt a new role as a mentor, as somebody that, and he spoke about that. And I think Piers tried to engineer it towards that way, but that's what he needs to do. Offer advice. Everything he's saying in terms of knowing how to apply yourself in the game would most probably be gems for somebody. Somebody could really absorb that information. But as an example, now at 37, there's not much you can do. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, Jackson Pollock says, when you're the greatest player of all time, I think it's bad things. It's bad brings him. It's bad he brings him on for 3 minutes. That's Ten Hag's mistake, but I will say Ronaldo's actions were wrong.
I'd agree with that to an extent. I mean, but at the end of the day,
yeah.
Cavani
would do that though, wouldn't he, Hakeem? Wouldn't he come?
No, exactly. Cavani virtually went on strike as well, didn't he? But but at the end of the day, this is what makes me laugh. You're a manager, and you're going to make mistakes. So if you're such a baby that any mistake that your manager makes, you're going to take it to heart, and then you're going to throw your toys out the pram, and you're going to do this, then you're not going to be able to work anywhere, are you? Because whoever you work for will do things that irritate you. That's just the way it is. You can't then start throwing your toys out the pram. And also, as Marcel said when he's talking about Ronaldo and his second language, Ten Hag is not a fluent English speaker. You can tell when he does interviews. So when he's saying, "Oh, I respect him so much," or whatever, you have to take into account that he's not fluent in the language. Every time he wants to say goodbye, he says please. It's not because he's saying it on purpose. It's because he's not a fluent English speaker. So when people are peppering him questions right after the match, you can't expect him to be now, just fluently coming out with all the right things to say. So I love Ten Hag. He might not have proved to be the best manager ever, but the way he's managing the team is exactly the way you need to. And how Ronaldo can talk about disrespect when I've never heard a player say about another player what bloody Fernandez said about Garnacho, on TV. Oh yeah, he's a great player, but his attitude was rubbish last year. That's why he's not been playing. If he sorts himself out, then he can be half decent. That's much more disrespectful than anything Ten Hag's done to Ronaldo. And then how's Garnacho responded by banging goals in, by applying himself. Now, different end of the spectrum. One's a young kid, one's an older guy, but that's how you react. You don't say because someone's done something. I come on. If I'm Ronaldo, I come on, bang in 3 goals, and then do whatever celebration I want, and then turn around to Ten Hag and say, "How can you leave me out of the team?" Not sulking all over the place, going off and running. I mean, when he went down the tunnel, I was just looking at him thinking, "What a baby!" It's just embarrassing.
It is.
Well, your Man United. Jackson says again, what Man United should do is stop buying has-beens, and no matter how good they are, fed up bringing these players in to sell shirts. Look, it killed us. We know it's a wrong move, innit? We know we brought in the wrong type of player. This is my final words, and Marcel, you can say your last bit. But my thing is, look, we brought in a player we knew was at the end of his tether. We knew was always going to need to be phased out, and we knew it weren't going to be easy because we signed him on more than 1 year. Like, we can't give him 2 years and an option and not expect this to happen. Like, it was always going to happen. And I'm just happy it's happening and we're getting him out now, because I want us to get another top striker in that's young and that can play for years to come. And the minute I saw a little bit of Mbappe talk, I'm like, listen, get him in. Like, I don't care what anyone says about what he's like off the pitch, whatever. Even if he stopped once in all his career so far, he stood there when the ball didn't come. I've seen players do that millions of times. I've seen Henry do that all the time. Okay, he hasn't done it since, and he's bagged ridiculous amounts of goals for years. And he's the only one who's close enough to a Haaland to get us to be able to fight, especially in that striker position. You know, who else are we going to get for that many, you know, that can absolutely destroy anyone on his own? Like, there's players
not Kane, not Kane. I wanted to go to Kane. Vlahovic.
Yeah.
Vlahovic, maybe.
On
From
his own.
Juventus.
They're not on the same level, though, are they? You know, Mbappe and Haaland.
You're not getting Mbappe. Stop dreaming.
Them two are on their own, though.
They are.
And everyone else is rungs below. So
Mbappe is not coming to United. That means he's out of Europe. He's not going to win something for probably another 2 years. I can't see Mbappe coming. You know, he had the opportunity to go to Real Madrid. Why would you then come to United? I can't see it unless we pay him ridiculous amounts of money.
What happens if we're in Champions League next season?
Sorry,
Nathan. I said, what happens if we're in Champions League next season, Hakeem?
But we're not going to win it, are we?
It doesn't matter. He didn't going to win it where he's at now.
Mbappe might come at the end of the season, depending on who we buy. If we buy 2 quality defenders, actually, and maybe someone to cover Casemiro when he gets injured, and then you got Mbappe, then Mbappe might be thinking, and we're like in the Champions League places, we go do a run in the cup. Then Mbappe might be thinking, all right, they're on the up, they've got a lot of money, they've got massive star power, but at the moment, I can't see him coming because I'm a Man United fan. And if I was playing somewhere else, I wouldn't go at Man United at the moment. I'd be watching to see what's going to happen before I went. Because there's too many false dawns, isn't there? I think now we've got a decent manager.
I don't care. I want him.
Yeah, same.
Anyone says I want him. I don't care.
So do I, but I'm a realist.
Him or Harry Kane would be the options. But quickly though, just on what Jackson Pollock said in terms of you know, we stopped near having to buy has-beens. I think we're in that trajectory already. We are not buying has-beens right now. We're buying nobody knows type players and undercovering gems. You know, in Malacia, Martinez, we're getting younger type players, and we have to be positive in the trajectory our manager's going in right now. So I think we're doing the right thing.
Just one last thing. He's improving players.
Yeah.
There's no way you're telling me anybody knew how good Dallo was. That man is ridiculous.
You know who did? Jose Mourinho.
He did. And he said it actually. And everyone thought, oh, you're just doing saying that because he's Portuguese. He's improved massively. You know, if you just look at that team, you're thinking, Rashford had gone for the last 2 years. He's come back to form. Martial comes on, he's banging goals in. You know, you're looking at, and even Varane last year, he was brilliant at Real Madrid. Last year, he looked as shaky as hell every time he played. Didn't it?
That's because he played with someone else. That's even
Martinez looked solid, and he's dropped the Chuckle brothers at the back. I'm happy.
Yeah, 100%. Marcel, any last words before I wrap this one up?
You know, big game against Burnley. You know, the next few games are important for us. You know, coming towards halfway through the season, so. Let's see who we get in January. We need 2 players. That's my latest thing. We need 2 players. This obviously means that we've got. I don't know if they have to pay the 16 million, so we need to look at that as Man United fans. If they're gonna have to do a payout for Ronaldo, but if they're not, that might be some money in the kitty. It's dividend month, I believe. I might be misquoting this, but it's maybe dividend month around January in terms of the financial quarters. Let's just see who we get in January. We need 2 players. If we don't, we're gonna suffer the next half of the season.
Hakeem, any last words on that? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with Marcel. I think United have actually played a blinder for once, and it's obvious there's different people running the football side of the club because they've kept quiet. They've basically said, yeah, we're going to rip them to shreds, but let's see what they have to say first. Now they've seen what he's going to say. They've said, right, we're suing him. So I don't think there's going to be any payout. That's why they're suing him. They're suing him so they can let him go and pay nothing. That's why they're suing. And then everyone gets what they want. He's a free agent. He can go his way. They don't have to pay any money. They've now got money to spend because £500,000 a week is a shed load of money. You can get some good players for that.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. I think we should get a Gakpo in and then try and get someone else, a defender in. I think we need a defender to help if Varane gets injured as well. And that's the next 2 steps for me. And that's really it, to be fair. And look, it's been a good one. It's been an interesting one. Great to have you both on at the same time as well. Some really good comments and good ideas here. And look forward to seeing you guys again. It'll be great. So until next time, we are going to be doing some specials in the World Cup covering the Man United players who are playing for their respective countries. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, as much fun as we can be. And look forward to seeing you guys soon, man. Peace out.
And you. Cheers.